Hello there. Welcome to our week 14. So if we look at the syllabus, week 14, April 14th and 16th, chapter 11 is due on the 16th. And next week, April 21st and 23rd, chapter 12 is due on the 21st, chapter 13 is due on the 23rd. And then we have dead week and then the exam. So the exam will actually be given to you on the 30th. I'll post it on the 30th. And you have until 11 a.m. on May 7th to upload it to Blackboard. Okay? You can do it before May 7th if you want, upload it to Blackboard. It just can't be beyond 11 o'clock in the morning on May 7th. Now, if you upload it before this, if you upload it on the 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th or whatever, that's fine, no problem. But I'm not going to start grading until after 11 o'clock on May 7th. So if you upload it on the 2nd and then wonder why it hasn't been graded on the 4th or 5th or 6th, it's because I'm not even going to be looking at them until after 11 a.m. on May 7th. So I can grade everybody's at one time. Okay, so if you want to upload it early, and that's great, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. Just don't expect it to be graded before May 7th or 8th or however long it takes me to grade them from that point on. Okay, I just wanted to go over that with you. And let's go over our chapter. Okay, so chapter 11, developing and managing products. Okay, so the first thing is the importance of new products. As a consumer, you all know the importance of new products because that's why you buy a lot of the products. We normally don't wait until something's worn out or broken to buy new. Most of the time, we buy new because of obsolescence. And so, new products are the purpose of that. If you don't create new products, then a competitor might create a new product and people flock to that. For example, BlackBerry didn't create new products, and Apple came along and created the iPhone. And now, even though there is a BlackBerry phone, it does not sell very many units. And Apple's, a trillion-dollar company. So that's why it's important to create new products that are innovative that people want. Okay, so let's go into this a little bit more. It sustains growth, reaches more people, builds a better business. All those things are what I inferred to when I went over that example. Okay, so we get into this here categories, 6 different categories of new products. New to the world products, or discontinuous innovations, create entirely new markets and are the smallest category of new products. So innovative new products, the Walkman from Sony would have been like that, and then that was replaced, of course, by the iPod. And then phones, smartphones replaced the iPod for the most part. They're still around, but most people use their phones now. And that would be something that new product lines allow them to enter an established market. Apple was not in music before. Apple was only a computer company, just like Apple wasn't in the cell phone business before the iPhone. And then additions, can I grab that? Additions to existing product lines include new products that supplement a firm's established product line. Okay, so Tide Pods would be an example of that. So it expands the people that are purchasing products to wash their clothes from just the Tide liquid or the Tide powder to the pods. Okay, and it's an innovative new product. Improvement or revision of existing product may be significant or only slightly changed. Those are the new and improved that you see on packages all the time. Reposition products targeted at new markets or market segments. You can find this a lot with cars. If you look at Hyundai, they keep getting larger, more luxurious. So they started out as the bargain basement cars, the cheapest cars on the market. And now, if you look at the new Palisade or something like that, you see that they've expanded greatly. And of course, Hyundai with Genesis has gone even more to upscale. Okay, next one, new product development process. New product strategy links to new products development process with the objectives of marketing department, business unit, and the corporation. So you wouldn't expect Tide to come up with um, a new washing machine, because even though it's a product to wash clothes, it's not the actual machine that does it. So that wouldn't really fit with the marketing department or the business unit of Tide laundry detergent. It sharpens the focus, provides general guidelines for generating, screening, and evaluating new product lines to make sure that it falls within these. And so here's the actual model. You can see this on page 201 in your book. So it goes through new product strategy, then idea generation, idea screening, business analysis, development, test marketing, commercialization, and then the new product. So it goes through all this down to the funnel and gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Of course, it has to pass each test before it would go to the next one. So if it fails business analysis, if the new Tide pods cost $10 for a small package of them, and the most they could sell them for is $10, well, then that wouldn't fit the business analysis because you'd lose money on all of them. So that would fail there, and it wouldn't have gone into the market. Idea generation, customers are a good source. Food's a great example of that. If you ask customers how the company can improve the menu, how they can improve different menu items or add to the menu, customers would normally uh, come up with ideas to create new types of product tastes or offerings. And now, if it comes to like an iPhone, that would be different. Now, maybe they could have an improvement on an iPhone, but if Apple would have asked them back in 1998, what did you want? And you know what new products would you like? No one would have ever said an iPhone because people wouldn't have even thought about it at that point. Employees are able to create new ideas based on playing with the products and figuring out really be nice if a product could do this or that or improve this or that. Distributors, they are working with your products and with the what the customers are wants. They're a good in between source that can convey what the customers are saying to the distributors to improve the products. Idea screening, first filter in the product development process. Eliminate ideas that are inconsistent with the organization. And then the concept test to evaluate new product ideas, usually before the prototype is created. So is it even feasible? For example, a flying car. We've been People have been talking about a flying car since the 1940s and 50s. Never really took off because it was not practical. It cost more than a plane costs, and it wasn't a very good uh, car or plane. Same with the car and the boat and the amphibian car. It wasn't a very good boat and it wasn't a very good car. Even though they had prototypes and they actually produced them, it just didn't work very well. Now, the new flying cars that are here aren't really cars, but they're more flying machines for one or two people. And the reason they are becoming more and more popular is because computerization tied with GPS makes it feasible for a person to get into this machine and just tell it where it wants to go, and then the machine takes over and flies them there. There's no pilot, it's all automated. So as long as the machine works, the computers work, then it can get them where they want to go. And there's no human interference, so you don't have accidents and things like that based on people not knowing what they're doing. That idea and those products are actually doing really well in the prototype stage, and we'll have to wait and see if they are go to market. Business analysis to go to market, then how much would that cost to produce them? How much would it cost to operate them? And then how much would people be willing to pay to go in one of those flying machines as opposed to a taxi or a subway or something like that. Newness of the product, of course, that would be brand new type of service. How large is the market? Well, in large cities like New York or LA, it'd probably be a huge market for that. Analyzing a raw economic trend, it depends on if people have the money or not to be able to afford it. Okay, so I'm running out of time. Here's the development process. Then you go through the test marketing, then high cost of test marketing, so you might want to do something virtual instead of going through the actual process of test marketing. Virtual could be simulated in a lab, or you could have different test studies instead of doing a mass marketing or a mass testing. And then you go into commercialization if it passes all that. Why some products fail or succeed. Uh, Overestimation of the market is a huge one, thinking that everyone's going to want this and buy it. You have the wrong price, or you don't get it distributed correctly. Poor promotion, people don't know about it, people don't know the difference. If you can't see what the difference between the new and the old is, people will just usually stick with the old. Global issues of new product development, and you have different globalization, competition, and succeeding country. Some countries offer companies to develop products that meet the unique needs of this population. Obviously, you don't try to sell big pickup trucks in Europe because the roads aren't wide enough to handle, an F-350 or something like that. The spread of new products, of course, these are all kind of outdated. Viral is the biggest way to spread today. Spread the news, spread the information. 7 characteristics of a successful product. A history of listening careful to the customers. You have to know what the customers want. Just because the engineers like it doesn't mean the customers will. Mercedes had this problem back in the 80s and 90s where people were demanding uh, um, cup holders in the vehicles, and the German engineers were like, "You don't need cup holders. A car isn't a fast food restaurant." And now, of course, they have cup holders because that's what people wanted. Um, Speaking of that, there's a Domino's commercial. Okay, so since I'm almost out of time, we will skip down to this cycle here. Is the 4 stages of the product life cycle. Start with the introduction stage. This line right here is the sales line, and there's the profits line. So here's your revenue, and the difference between the revenue and the profits is the marginal costs. And of course, the profits have to go in to pay the fixed cost as well. But here's just the marginal cost is the difference. So you have an introductory stage, growth stage, maturity stage, and then decline stage. Of course, profits parallel the sales because obviously marginal cost and marginal profit with that. So you can see right here is the most profitable. Towards the end of the growth stage, just before you get into the maturity stage, but this revenues keep going up until you hit maturity stage. The reason for the profit ending there is normally you have to start decreasing the price of the product because you're entering the maturity stage. There's a lot more competition, so your price has to come down to keep the growth going, um, and then but your profits actually decline. Okay, and we went through those. And then here is your relationship between the diffusion process and the product life cycle. Of course, the diffusion process is how fast it goes through the people, the consumers, how fast people pick them up. Is it something that, like the tablet, the first tablet that I used was back in 2004 or 5, and they didn't become popular until the iPads took off in 2007 or 8, I think it was. So it took a long time for that type of product to be diffused, whereas other products get diffused very quickly, like an iPhone or a movie back when we could go to theaters, which we can't do right now. Hopefully, we can again in the future. And then here's your key terms. So that's the end of this chapter. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be looking for your homework first thing Friday morning. I know it's due on Thursday. I always look for them on Friday to make sure I have everybody's. And I hope you have a safe week and you all are healthy. And I will be posting another video next week. You all take care.